There's a quiet battle going on inside every single one of us. It's not something you see on people's faces. And it's definitely not something that gets posted on social media, but it shapes your whole future more than anything else. This is the struggle to get a handle on 4 key things: your mouth, your mind, your mood, and your money. Folks who win this inner fight don't just get by, they truly flourish. And those who don't, they often find themselves stuck in endless cycles of disappointment. So, let's really dig into this today. We'll talk about how to regain control, one vital step at a time. Get control of your mouth. It sounds incredibly simple, right? But controlling your mouth is one of the toughest things to do, especially when feelings run high, when you feel put down, or when the urge to win an argument completely overshadows the desire to understand. Your mouth, your words, they can be your most powerful tool or your most dangerous weapon. Every single conversation presents a clear choice. Do you want to build a connection or cause a collision? What's truly remarkable is how many people are completely unaware of the immense power they wield with every single word they utter. Think back to the last time someone said something that really hurt you. It wasn't necessarily loud or filled with bad language. Maybe it was sharp, dismissive, or just cold. Perhaps it was a joke at your expense that everyone else found funny but left you feeling small. Maybe it was a backhanded compliment that made you question your own worth. Or perhaps it was simply silence when you desperately needed some affirmation. Words don't need to be shouted to cut deep. They just need to be thoughtless. Studies from places like the Harvard Business Review confirm what we instinctively know: negative interactions carry 5 times the emotional weight of positive ones. This means that for every single careless or hurtful thing we say, it takes 5 acts of kindness just to balance the emotional scales. So, what happens in our homes, our workplaces, our friendships when we're quick with criticism but slow with genuine appreciation? We slowly erode trust. We chip away at the feeling of safety. We replace a sense of peace with constant tension. In those moments when we don't think before we speak, when we simply react instead of taking a moment to respond, we often tell ourselves we're just being honest. But honesty without empathy is just cruelty in disguise. Being honest doesn't give us permission to be reckless with our words. We often forget that people aren't just hearing what we say, they are absorbing it. Words don't simply bounce off people, they soak in. They become beliefs, they become memories, they become fears. Now, think of a time when someone said something genuinely lifted you up. It might have been just one sentence, or even a single word, but it fundamentally changed how you approached your day. Maybe someone told you they truly believed in you right before a big presentation. Perhaps a teacher pulled you aside and said, "You've got real potential." Or a friend said, "I truly see you, and I'm so proud of you." These moments really matter, and they don't happen by chance. They happen when someone actively chooses to use their words not as a weapon, but as a bridge. If you genuinely want to lead, truly lead, don't start by trying to speak louder. Start by listening more attentively. There's a profound strength in restraint. Leaders who master their mouths understand that real power isn't about dominating others, it's about understanding them. People willingly follow those who make them feel heard, valued, and safe, not those who bark orders, interrupt constantly, or speak just to fill silence. A truly wise leader learns to pause before responding, to ask questions before making assumptions, and to build up others before offering criticism. And in our homes, where love should always be the loudest voice, the tone we use can completely set the emotional temperature. If you want peace in your family, start by using softer words, not out of weakness, but out of strength. There is absolutely nothing weak about speaking with care. In fact, it takes far more inner strength to be gentle when you're frustrated than it does to simply lash out. Raising your voice doesn't increase your authority. It only raises the walls people build to protect themselves from you. What's truly sad is how often we hurt the people we care about most simply because we feel comfortable around them. We say things to our partners, our children, our siblings that we would never dream of saying to a stranger. We try to justify our sharpness with phrases like, well, they know I love them, but love isn't just a feeling, it's what you actively demonstrate. And the mouth is often where that love is most truly tested. When someone walks away from a conversation with you, how do they feel? Do they feel empowered or diminished? Encouraged or deflated? Do they feel safe or like they're constantly walking on eggshells? Because at the end of the day, people rarely remember the exact words we used, but they always remember how we made them feel. And the way we speak has a ripple effect far beyond that specific moment. One sarcastic comment can echo in someone's mind for years. One sincere word of belief can change the entire course of their life. Imagine a world where people spoke not just to express themselves, but to uplift others, where every single interaction became a genuine opportunity to build something instead of breaking it down, where conflict wasn't fueled by ego, but diffused by true compassion. That world begins with each and every one of us. It starts every time we choose to pause, to take a breath, and to speak with genuine intention. The truth is, you never truly know what someone else is carrying. Your words might be the only kind thing they hear all day, or they might be the final blow after 100 previous wounds. So, choose your words wisely, because the cost of careless speech is simply too high, and the rewards of thoughtful communication are absolutely priceless. There's an old story about a man who carried a bag of feathers through a village, releasing one at each doorstep as he spread harmful rumors about his neighbor. Later, realizing the terrible damage he had caused, he tried to collect all the feathers, but the wind had scattered them far and wide. That's the very nature of words once they are released. They can never truly be undone. You can apologize, of course, but the impact always lingers. So, before you speak, always ask yourself these questions. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? These aren't limitations, they are powerful filters. They help ensure that what we say creates true value instead of causing harm. They serve as a crucial reminder that words are not just sounds, they are seeds. What we plant will inevitably grow, for better or for worse. Speak in a way that makes people want to lean in and listen, not step back in defense. Let your words be a source of warmth in a cold world, a beacon of light in someone's darkness, a sturdy bridge over troubled waters. Because at its core, control over your mouth isn't about censoring yourself, it's about being profoundly conscious. It's not about being silent, it's about being strategic. It's not about fear, it's about love. And the more you practice it, the more naturally it becomes. With time, you'll genuinely start to feel the difference between speaking just to be heard and speaking to truly heal. You'll find the inner courage to hold your tongue when anger flares, and the profound humility to uplift others when pride tempts you to tear them down. You'll discover that controlling your mouth isn't a loss of freedom. It's the clear path to deeper respect, richer relationships, and lasting positive influence. Because words can either build or burn, and every single time you open your mouth, you get to choose which path you'll take. Master your mind, most people go through life feeling like passengers in their own minds, completely unaware that they've handed over the steering wheel to fear, endless distraction, and constant negativity. They wake up already feeling overwhelmed, consumed by thoughts they didn't actively choose. Worries start to gather momentum even before they've had their morning coffee. A single doubt can quickly spiral into a full-blown catastrophe, and by midday, they've played out every single worst-case scenario in their heads. Not because those things are real, but simply because their minds ran wild without any guidance. That's not real insight. That's not preparedness. That's just chaos. And yet, it's become shockingly normal. But just because something is common doesn't make it right. The truth is, the human brain wasn't designed primarily to make us happy. It was designed to keep us alive. It's a fundamental survival tool programmed over thousands of years to notice potential danger long before it sees an opportunity, to anticipate failure long before it envisions success. It's constantly scanning the horizon for any hint of a threat, whether real or imagined. That's precisely why we tend to obsess over what might go wrong far more than what could go right. And if we leave the mind completely unchecked, if we just let it run on autopilot, we don't just live in fear, we actually start building our entire lives around it. We begin preparing for disaster instead of preparing for limitless possibility. But here's the absolutely crucial insight. You are not your mind. You are the conscious observer standing behind the thoughts. You are the captain of your own ship, the author of your own story. The brain might provide all the dialogue, but you get to decide which lines actually stay in the script. Most people simply don't realize they have the power to choose their thoughts. But you absolutely can, and in fact, you must, because every single thought is like a tiny seed. And over time, those seeds grow into deeply held beliefs. Those beliefs, in turn, powerfully shape your actions, and your actions ultimately shape your entire reality. So when you choose a thought, you're not just choosing how you'll feel in that moment, you're actively choosing the future you're moving toward. So, what exactly are you planting? Imagine for a moment that you treated your thoughts with the same care you use when choosing your clothes. You wouldn't just grab anything off the floor and throw it on, would you? You dress with purpose, depending on where you're going and what you're doing. So why do we wake up every day and unthinkingly put on thoughts of worry, self-doubt, and failure without a second glance? Start choosing your thoughts with the same deliberate care. Pick ones that truly serve you. Thoughts that empower you, thoughts that actively prepare you for the life you genuinely want to live. And just like dressing appropriately for the weather, there's a lot of preparation involved. You don't develop mental strength by accident. You actively train for it. You work at it consistently. Feed your mind with ideas that challenge your comfort zone. Read books that genuinely expand your thinking, not just those that confirm what you already believe. Listen to voices that make you slightly uncomfortable in the best possible way. Voices that stretch you, that make you question what you previously thought was true. Surround yourself with people who dare to dream bigger than you do, people who don't laugh at your goals, but instead immediately ask, what's your next step? People who don't dwell endlessly on problems, but speak in terms of exciting possibilities. Because the conversations you have every day are constantly shaping your perspective. And if you spend too much time in rooms where everything is presented as a problem, you'll eventually forget what solutions even sound like. And then there's gratitude, not the superficial, Instagram perfect version, but the quiet, consistent practice of genuinely noticing what's good, even when everything else feels incredibly difficult. Gratitude isn't about denying pain, it's about firmly refusing to let pain have the final word. When your brain tells you everything is falling apart, gratitude gently reminds you of what's still holding together. A Navy SEAL once famously said, "We don't rise to the occasion, we fall to the level of our training." That profound truth applies far beyond the battlefield. It applies in business, in our relationships, and certainly in the face of adversity. When intense pressure hits, when fear suddenly appears, you won't magically become calm and focused. You will, instead, fall to the level of the habits you painstakingly built when no one else was watching. Your mindset in those critical moments will be a direct reflection of every single decision you made beforehand. Every time you chose discipline over distraction, Every time you deliberately centered yourself instead of just reacting, every time you quietly reminded yourself, this thought is not me, I get to choose differently. Training your mind isn't about somehow avoiding hard moments. It's about being completely ready for them. You build that readiness day by day, choice by choice. You build it by actively practicing stillness when your first instinct is to rush. You build it by practicing genuine curiosity when your first instinct is to judge. You build it by consciously choosing courage when your first instinct is to hide. This isn't about toxic positivity. It's not about pretending everything is fine when it's clearly not. It's about fundamentally understanding that even in the deepest darkness, you possess the inherent power to bring light. That even when fear whispers its doubts, you can speak louder with conviction. That even when the old, ingrained wiring of your brain tries to drag you backward, you can actively rewrite the code. Because the future doesn't truly begin tomorrow. It begins with your very next thought, and then the one after that, and then the one after that. The real power isn't just in the individual thought itself, it's in the consistent pattern you create. Train your mind to always return to hope. Train it to expect resilience. Train it to actively find strength even when there's no obvious evidence for it yet. And over time, you won't just think differently, you will fundamentally be different. Your mind is either your most incredibly powerful asset or your most dangerously destructive enemy. And it doesn't change by accident. It changes through deliberate intention, through consistent discipline, through determined repetition, through choosing again and again the specific thoughts that lead you toward the life you were always meant to live. Every single day, you have a crucial choice to be ruled by your mind or to rule it. Choose wisely, because your future is actively listening, and it's being written one thought at a time. Master your mood. Most people move through life completely believing that their emotions are in ultimate control. They wake up feeling irritated, and so the entire day feels doomed from the start. Someone cuts them off in traffic, and suddenly it's declared a bad day. A single email completely ruin the next 5 hours of their productivity. But here's a fundamental truth you absolutely must grasp: high emotions are not dictators, they are messengers. Their primary job is to deliver a signal, not to completely hijack your entire system. The very moment we understand this, we begin to reclaim the immense power we've always possessed but often forgot was ours. The power to consciously respond instead of impulsively react. We are, by our very nature, emotional creatures. That's not a flaw, it's a fundamental feature of being human. We laugh, we cry, we rage, we hope. Emotions are what give life its rich texture, its vibrant colors, and its deepest meaning. But there's a crucial distinction between simply experiencing emotions and being utterly ruled by them. There's a profound difference between honoring what you genuinely feel and allowing those feelings to sabotage everything you truly value. Think about anger for a moment. It's an incredibly powerful emotion, and it arises for a specific reason. Perhaps because something felt deeply unfair, or you felt unseen, or you needed to protect someone. That message is undoubtedly important. But acting purely from that anger, without any thoughtful translation, that's truly dangerous. That's when you say things you instantly regret or break the trust you worked so hard to build. The same principle applies to sadness. It's a clear signal that you've lost something profoundly meaningful. But staying immersed in sadness for too long can cloud your perception and completely steal your momentum. Emotional discipline doesn't mean denial. It doesn't mean pretending you're fine when you're breaking inside. It doesn't mean simply pushing your feelings down and hoping they magically disappear. It means becoming truly fluent in your own emotional language. It means learning to read the message your emotions are sending you before you impulsively react to their tone. Imagine your emotions as guests arriving at your dinner table. Some arrive loudly, some are quiet, some might even be a bit rude, and others are genuinely kind. But you are the host. You get to decide who stays, who leaves, and who gets a seat of true influence at your table. When you genuinely realize this, you stop fearing your emotions. Instead, you listen to them. You learn from them. But you absolutely do not let them lead your entire life. One of the most effective leaders I know starts every single team meeting with exactly 2 minutes of silence. Not a guided meditation, not a specific breathing exercise, just quiet. Everyone puts their phones down, there's no typing, no whispering, just 2 minutes of intentional stillness. The very first time he tried it, the room felt incredibly awkward. People shifted uncomfortably in their chairs, some glanced nervously at their watches. But by the third or fourth meeting, something truly began to change. The team became visibly more grounded. Discussions became far more thoughtful. People listened more attentively and reacted much less impulsively. What changed wasn't the workload or the external environment. It was the entire mood of the room, and that shift changed absolutely everything. When we consciously create space to simply feel without immediately reacting, we create immense freedom. And from that freedom, true power emerges. Think about the last time you felt completely overwhelmed. Maybe your inbox was overflowing. Deadlines were rapidly approaching, and your phone wouldn't stop buzzing. You felt as though the world was closing in on you. In that moment, the natural instinct is to react, to lash out, to retreat, to shut down entirely. But what if, instead of doing any of that, you simply paused? What if you asked yourself, what's truly underneath this feeling? Is it a fear of failure? Is it an unvoiced need for help? Is it simply the relentless pressure to prove something? So many of our strongest emotional reactions are actually just masks for deeper, unaddressed needs. A quick temper might actually mask a profound fear of being unappreciated. Withdrawal might mask a deep-seated fear of rejection. Irritation might simply mask sheer exhaustion. But when we treat the mood itself as the final answer, instead of the entry point to understanding, we completely miss the crucial opportunity to grow. There's a very good reason why the best decision makers in high-stakes environments are rigorously trained to control their breathing. Navy SEALs, fighter pilots, trauma surgeons, they all intuitively understand this. When your physiology is calm, your clarity of thought dramatically increases. When your body is in control, your brain quickly catches up. That pause, that conscious breath, that moment of stillness, it's not a sign of weakness. It's a powerful strategy. It's precisely what allows you to respond with surgical precision, instead of reacting with blind panic. But let's be completely honest, emotional discipline is not always glamorous. It's not the fairy, inspiring speech. It's not the grand, sweeping gesture. Sometimes it looks like quietly walking away from an argument you absolutely know you could win, but recognize doesn't need to be fought. Sometimes it's holding back a sharp, sarcastic comment that springs to mind. Sometimes it's simply saying, I need a moment. Instead of pretending you're perfectly fine, these small, deliberate acts are what build the crucial muscle of emotional fluency. In today's fast-paced world, mood is often mistakenly confused with identity. People say things like, I'm just an angry person, or I'm always anxious, or I'm too sensitive. These labels become self-imposed cages we construct for ourselves. But your mood is not who you are. It's simply what you're feeling in that moment, and feelings, by their very nature, change. Identity, when it's rooted in pure reaction, becomes brittle and easily broken. But when it's deeply rooted in awareness, it becomes incredibly resilient. There is immense power in recognizing your own unique emotional patterns. What consistently triggers your anger? What gently softens your fear? What reliably restores your calm? These aren't just abstract psychological questions. They are intensely practical ones. Because when you truly understand the complex terrain of your own emotional landscape, you stop being constantly surprised by it. You start actively preparing for it. You can't predict every emotional storm that will come your way, but you can certainly build a lighthouse strong enough to withstand it. That lighthouse is painstakingly built through consistent practice, through pausing before you speak, through journaling at the end of a difficult day, through deliberately surrounding yourself with people who genuinely model emotional strength, not just emotional intensity, and through having the courage to ask for help when your own mind feels like an inescapable maze. Emotional strength isn't loud, it's not flashy. It's not about having a stone-cold face or an impenetrable steel-trap heart. It's about grace. Grace for yourself, grace for others, and grace in the chaotic midst of life. It's a grace that firmly says, I will not let this fleeting feeling dictate my entire future. When you master your mood, you stop being a helpless victim of circumstance. You become a wise steward of your own precious energy. You walk into meetings radiating calm, not chaos. You respond to conflict with genuine curiosity, not explosive combustion. You build relationships that feel truly safe, not sharp and dangerous. You start to subtly notice when someone else is feeling off, not to criticize them, but to genuinely care. And in doing so, you become the kind of person people instinctively trust, not because you're always outwardly happy, but because you are always deeply grounded. The kind of leader who can be the quiet calm in the very eye of the storm, the kind of friend who listens deeply before jumping in to fix things, the kind of human who leads not just with sharp intellect, but with profound emotional wisdom. That's what mastering your mood truly gives you, not just peace of mind, but a profound peace of presence. And when your calm presence brings a sense of peace to others, that's not just emotional control, that's authentic emotional leadership. And the world, now more than ever, desperately needs more of that. Command your money, control your money, or your money will absolutely control you. This isn't about greed or accumulating vast wealth. It's fundamentally about freedom. It's about having the incredible ability to wake up each morning and consciously choose your path. It's about having the power to walk away from situations that don't serve you, not because you're desperate, but because you are thoroughly prepared. Most people tend to think about money purely in terms of arithmetic, what you earn, what you spend, what you owe. But money isn't just about cold numbers. It's about profound meaning. It's about choices. Every single dollar you spend is essentially a vote for the kind of life you actively want to create. Every dollar you save is a deliberate step toward the future you are meticulously building. And every dollar you waste is a compromise, a frustrating delay, a significant detour from the life you genuinely claim to want. When you glance at someone's bank account, you're not merely seeing a list of transactions. You're witnessing their priorities unfold, their spending patterns, a story being told about what truly matters to them, what's ignored, what feels urgent, and what simply isn't. And that's precisely why mastering your money begins with awareness. Not obsession, not fear, but clear, honest awareness. Every great journey starts with a map. If you honestly don't know where your money is currently going, how can you ever reasonably expect it to take you where you genuinely want to be? Far too many people mistakenly believe that true wealth is only for the exceptionally lucky or the incredibly high earners. But real wealth isn't primarily about how much you bring in, it's about how wisely and effectively you manage what you already have. I once met a man who worked as a janitor for over 4 decades. It was a humble job, with a modest, unassuming salary, nothing flashy at all. He never earned more than $40,000 in a year. He never drove a brand new car. He never took on any debt. But when he passed away, his estate revealed over $8 million in savings and investments. He never played the lottery, he played the extremely long game. He invested consistently, He lived simply, and most importantly, he always thought with a long-term perspective. He didn't just plan for retirement. He planned for limitless possibility. We are constantly bombarded with messages explicitly designed to separate us from our money. Buy now, pay later. Treat yourself, you deserve it. But let's be genuinely honest with ourselves. What do you truly deserve? Do you deserve fleeting, momentary pleasure at the profound cost of lasting peace? Do you deserve the temporary high of consumption followed by the deep, lingering low of regret? Or do you genuinely deserve the lasting freedom to breathe, to choose, to actively invest in your future instead of endlessly paying for your past mistakes? Controlling your money doesn't mean being cheap or miserly. It means being incredibly intentional. It means actively telling your money where to go instead of constantly wondering where it inexplicably went. It's the stark difference between chronic stress and strategic planning, between financial chaos and confident control, between simply surviving and truly thriving. And it all starts small. It begins with the firm decision to truly look, not to flinch away, not to avoid the truth, not to lie to yourself, but to genuinely look at your financial situation. Open up your bank statements. Meticulously track your expenses. You're not judging yourself in this process. You are actively learning. You're taking a clear inventory. You're waking up from financial slumber. From there, start building positive habits. Habits that genuinely serve you. Set a budget, not as a restrictive cage, but as a guiding compass. Automate your savings. Invest in assets that consistently grow, not those that steadily depreciate. Create an emergency fund, not because you're paranoid, but because you are incredibly smart. Life is inherently unpredictable, but you don't have to be unprepared. We don't magically rise to the level of our grand dreams. We inevitably fall to the level of our established systems. And your financial system is either diligently working for you or steadily working against you. The crucial difference isn't necessarily in your income. It's in your unwavering discipline. It's in the countless daily choices you make when absolutely no one is watching. It's in the quiet, often boring, consistent work of being financially responsible, even when it's not particularly fun. Because here's the undeniable truth. Freedom isn't found in impulse, it's found in disciplined restraint. It's found in the incredible ability to say, not now, so that one day in the future, you can confidently say, now I can. It's found in the sheer power to confidently walk into a new opportunity without any hesitation whatsoever. Imagine for a moment being able to confidently say yes to that dream trip, yes to that promising business idea, yes to walking away from a toxic job, not just because the timing miraculously aligned, but because your finances were already perfectly aligned. That's true power. That's what genuine financial control provides you. It gives you invaluable space. It gives you profound peace. It gives you abundant options. And when you're not constantly stressed about money, you show up completely differently in the world. You're more generous, more focused, more present. You're not perpetually distracted by the heavy weight of what you owe or the crushing pressure of living paycheck to paycheck. You're truly free to think bigger, to dream wider, to give more freely. So, if you're currently feeling overwhelmed by your finances, start incredibly simply. Start with just $1. Track it. Know exactly where it went. Ask yourself if that expenditure genuinely aligned with the person you aspire to be. And then, repeat that process again and again and again until clarity completely replaces confusion, until control firmly replaces chaos. Money is not the ultimate goal, freedom is, and peace is. But money is the essential tool. It's the powerful leverage. And it responds directly to intention, not necessarily to income, not to inheritance, but to unwavering intention. The world may never stop trying to take your money, but you absolutely get to decide who wins that ongoing battle. You get to choose whether your money is a constant source of stress or a reliable source of strength. And you certainly don't need $1 million to make that crucial choice. You need a specific mindset. You need a clear mission. You need to genuinely believe that you are fully capable of mastering your finances, even if no one ever taught you how. Because when you truly learn to command your money, you learn to command your entire life. You walk taller. You breathe deeper. You stop living in paralyzing fear and start living in glorious freedom. Not because life has suddenly become effortlessly easy, but because you are now genuinely equipped. And that, my friends, is a kind of wealth no mere paycheck can ever truly buy.